And when you went to IFC, were you like, we want to do a Portland-based sketch show?
No, actually not. We didn't have Portland even in sort of the pitch, but Evan Shapiro and Jen and everyone that we met with at IFC was very keen on the specificity of Portland and how that would really look different and feel different. And they just realized that Penrand already had a sensibility that was very much married to Portland. And it was really Jonathan that decided that Portland should be a character in and of itself. And that, I think, is actually what helped elevate the show from a web series to something that could be on TV. Was really starting to focus in on just themes and an aesthetic and a kind of texture that Portland brings to it.
And so that opening song in the first episode, The Spirit of the 90s is Live in Portland, was that, so that was not, did you write that once you knew it was about Portland?
No, that happened while we were shooting that first season. Jonathan just came up with that idea, just from having been in Portland. He was walking around and he just came in one day and was like, I know exactly what Portland is. It's like the dream of the 90s. Which it really is. It's like that whole Lollapalooza sensibility of just like piercings and tattoos and people really living that lifestyle. And then he just came up with the song. It happened really quickly.
Because I love the 90s. Like, there's a place where you can just live there. Be around. Like, great.
I like the idea too that cities can be a different decade.
Yeah. And then what, with the last episode, you were asked to put together a baseball team, a professional baseball team for Portland.
Yeah.
The Portland Thinkers.
Yeah.
And you held what I guess was basically auditions for the baseball team.
Yeah.
Now how much did those actors know? Like I'm assuming those were just like local Portland people who are cast because they look like weirdos.
Half and half. Some of them, one guy was a local comedian in Portland.
Yeah, and one guy was a baseball player.
Yeah.
Like what kind of baseball player?
We just picked the ones that definitely look the weirdest.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea was, Fred came up with this idea, like, what if you were putting a baseball team together, like, you're auditioning for a movie? You know, like, you don't audition people, you just see how they play. So this idea, like, can you run the bases? Okay.
For me, it was fun because you probably talk less about sports than anyone I know.
Yeah.
And it was so fun to have you saying, like, now you're like, pretend you're in first base.
Yeah.
And you're running to second base. And I was just so much fun watching it, being like, he doesn't know anything past this. Like, past this question, he would have to start making stuff up.
Yeah, I still have a fantasy of going to some city and putting together a professional baseball team.
I enjoyed when you were telling the mayor that we were going to play the Diamondbacks. We got a couple games against the Phillies. Like they were already scheduled.
That's such a weird team to be, the Diamondbacks. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
It's a snake.
Yeah. Look, we didn't come here to talk about the Diamondbacks, though.
All right.
So when you went into the second season, like in the time in between, like obviously you guys have other things that you focus a lot on your Saturday Live. You have a band. Like when you got back to the second season, did you have a lot of ideas, or did you have to get back in a room and just start fresh?
Well, me and Carrie got together. Initially, we came up with a bunch of ideas, and then Jonathan, and then we had some other writers join us, and we just got right back into it. We had a writer's room and everything. We did it in a very organized, professional way.
I like that it's very important to you that it's organized.
Yeah, I suppose that wasn't just, we really did work on the second season a lot.
Yeah, and the ideas were just coming fast and furious, so it was really fun.
And then, was there anything from SNL that didn't work there that you brought to this season?
Yes, there was Sacagawea. We did Sacagawea. We just did this scene where it's so hard to explain that I just repeat the word Sacagawea over and over again. You know, so from Lewis and Clark, she kind of guided them. So Karen and I are playing reenactors of Lewis and Clark, and we just can't get her attention.
But she's not there because you're reenacting.
Well, we're reenacting, but so she's ignoring us. So we did that. I think that might have been it. All right, great.
Which I like is that you at SNL you tried it with Robert De Niro.
Yes.
And I like that the fact that like it's not going to work with Robert De Niro, but it's going to work with Carrie Robinson. And I promise it will.
But it worked out. Yeah.
And now, how many writers do you have on the show?
We have 4 sort of full-time time, that's,
Us three plus one more, and then a couple little people, you know,
The
not
local
little,
help.
but
yeah.
little one-off days coming in.
And Allison, and then
Oh, yeah, right.
Doug, our editor, Doug Wassenhaupt, who also edited on Tim and Eric, came up with one of the sketches.
We noticed that Fred puts in a lot of editing jokes into the thing, like in that baseball thing, he's like, pretend you're on an editing thing and went backwards. But this is a lot of editing.
We all love editor jokes.
Like everybody does. And now you obviously have a lot of guest stars coming this year. You've had a lot of guest stars the first year. Like when you have somebody like JC Sudeikis or Heather Graham come in, do you guys have ideas specifically for them when you ask them, or is it more that you just want to have somebody come and then you figure it out?
It's a little of both. Really depends on the guest star. But we always like for them to own what they do, so we kind of like seeing what they come up with. But usually we have a role specifically for them.
When Amy Mann was your maid, which was excellent, how did that come about? Like, I know you're friends with her, but like, did you basically explain it? Did you pitch it to her like that?
Well, it comes from a real story that happened in Carrie.
Not with Amy Mann. She was never my thing lady. But I did have that was written based on real events. And it was actually difficult to come up with the
The
right...
real event was what, that you had a cleaning lady that was a one-time thing?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and it was really awkward.
Yeah.
Because I was a fan and had the records